Hi, it's John here from the Professional Nail School and Beauty Academy. I'm just going to look at these nails here now, and I'm just playing really about. I don't know what I'm going to get out of this, but we'll just have a go and see what turns up. It's great to practice your designs and so on, just when you've got some free time, which we've all got at the moment because of lockdown. But I've got some Glamour Glitz. This one's called Sarah. Now it looks kind of bluish here, but when it goes on it's a lot darker. So when you're buying acrylic powders, look at the swatches, because quite often if you go by the colour of the powder, it often comes out a lot different in its actual look. So I'm going to get started now in a second. No, I've just got a Liz Gill brush here as well, and I'm going to just got my monomer here ready in two little pots here, because I'm also going to use CJP Shooting Stars, which has got the name Liz Gill on it, which is the same as the brush, of course. And so let's get started. So these tips I've got here are just stiletto tips. They're quite short to what I normally do, but a lot of people do tend to have this kind of length, so that's why I'm doing this length here. I'm just pick up some powder, and I'm just going to place it onto the nail, near to the back, keeping the finger pointing downwards. Now you can see straight away how dark this is compared to what it looked like in the pot. I'm just going to drag that down the nail. And I'm using my pad here to wipe off as I go along. The Glamour Glitz powder is quite a nice powder. It really goes on really smooth. It's nice to use. Just watch your side walls, you don't clog them up with products. So I'm just place some towards the end here and just drag it up a little bit like that, and then just brush backwards into the nail. And what I'm just trying to do is get a nice saturation of the colour onto the nail. I might leave that a second now and come back to that in a second when it's dried a little bit. Pop this one here, just pat it down at the back without it going over the cuticle area. And just smooth that out. Just make sure you get any off the skin as you go along. Whenever I'm filming, I always seem to get one of those going past. And when you're applying a coloured acrylic, just apply it really thin, almost like a gel polish. You don't need to have your colour thick. And if I was doing these on a customer, I'd probably put a base clear underneath first. Again, not thick, just a thin layer of clear underneath first, so that when they come back and they want to change their colour, it just means that I won't have to take all the tips off and start again. I'll be able to just file back to the clear that I had, file the colour off to the clear back to the, file the colour off back to the clear that I had underneath. Don't forget to roll the fingers so that you can see the sides, because obviously you want to make sure that colour has covered all of the nail and yet I haven't left any spaces. A little bit's dropped off there off my brush. What I'll probably do is I'll probably miss the next nail out now, and I'm going to put the glitter on that one. So let's just do this little finger here. Again. This is a really nice brush to use. Again, picking up smaller pieces, because it's only a tiny weeny nail. You don't want to get loads of products on your brush, because then you'll end up with it all over the place. Just keep it clear as you go along. So what I need to do is just build up that colour until I get the saturation point that I want with the colour. That's why I keep wiping on the pad in front of me here, just to make sure that I'm not putting it back in the wrong place where I don't want it to go. So I'm just come back to this one over here now. I'm just going to build up some of this colour on the front here. So it really is like applying a gel polish, just to get that depth of colour on the nail. Just brushing backwards and forwards to build up the colour. It's a very strong colour, this one is. I really like it. It comes out kind of midnight blue almost. It's really nice. I'm going to twist the finger so I can see the edges here. Wipe my brush so that I can go down the sides without spreading it all over the fingers. Now here you see I've picked up way too much, so I'm just going to bob that over here. But if I hadn't got a nail to work on, I'd just get rid of it and pick up again. I just want a small amount. If you do pick a bit up that's too much for the nail that you're working on, it's better just to get rid of it and just pick up again. Because the last thing you want is a great big blob on the nail that's too small, when the nail's really tiny. You picked up a great big blob and then it's all over the place. It's better just to get rid of it. So I think that is more, there's a little bit at the side there I've missed, so I'm going to just turn it over. Obviously with a real person you've got a lot more flexibility with the hand, and you can just twist it this way and twist it that way. Just check, because with dark colours you do really need to check that you have filled the nail in. And you can see I've got a little bit on here which I'm going to just pick off. So that's, right, okay, that looks a bit weak at the front there. As I moved my hand away, it did look a bit light in the colour at the front here. And that looks better now, yeah. Alright, so that's my dark blue applied, and I'm not quite sure what to do now. Maybe I should just put some blue at the back of this one. Keep the finger pointing down so it doesn't flow up to the cuticles. I think with this, I think I'm just going to fade it down the nail a bit. Just give that bit of darkness at the back. Right, so that's my blue colour applied, and now next thing I'm going to do is put on my glitter. I'm just going to let that dry off a little bit. Right, so now I'm going to go on to my glitter, and as I said, I've got the Liz Gill Shooting Stars, and I'm going to put that over the whole of this nail. So I've got some fresh liquid in here. I'm going to pick up. Oh, right, okay. When you're picking this up, you've got to be kind of quick, because sometimes it just drops off the brush. So let's just pop that there. And you just got to push them round to bed them in. And this powder, the glitter I'm using now, has got the acrylic powder in it, clear acrylic powder already. So you haven't got to kind of mix it with clear powder as you would with just a general glitter. Let's pop it on. Twist the finger so you can see the sides, so you are getting the coverage into the edges. need to play with it, but you have got plenty of time, so it's not that it dries in a second. Move all those little stars around. Right, that's almost covered now. Just a bit there, I think. So I think that looks pretty good. I think what I'll do here, I'll just put it near to the tip, I think. Just take it up the nail. Bit of an angle. That on the other nails as well. Oh, there goes another one, going past again. Listening to all those cars, police cars and ambulances going past, you might think this is a high accident prone area, or we've got a lot of criminals around here. But what it is that the station is just at the bottom of the road here, so you get all these going past all the time on their way to incidents and hospitals and God knows what. Finger now. So there we are, so we'll just leave that to set for a few seconds, and then I'm going to apply my clear encapsulation. So now I'm going to encapsulate these with a clear powder, and I want to make sure that my monomer is nice and clear, it hasn't been stained. I'll get my clear powder. I'm using glass slippers here, which is Glitterbell's range, and then just encapsulate that with clear powder. Now, as I said earlier, you apply the colour quite thinly, and if you need to, you can build up your arch and your strength in the nail with your clear powders. And if you put clear underneath to start with, before you put your colour on, then you will be able to file off this colour back to the clear that you had underneath, which will mean that you'll be able to, you won't have to keep soaking them off when you want to change designs and so on, or colours. Just keep the finger pointing down when you're working round by the back. That way you're not going to have the acrylic run back up to the cuticle. Just tap it in. And just pull it down the nail, like so. Very gentle strokes. Just want to put somewhere the arch is there. I'm just going to leave that for a few seconds. It's just to polymerise. What happens, it goes into like this round bead, which means it's partly setting, and then when I brush it out, it'll stay thicker in that area. It's a little trick I use to build my arch. Use your lights just to reflect the area so you can see what's happening with the surface. Now if you've got a glitter that's quite chunky or heavy, you will need to build that up a bit more so that when you file, you don't file off the glitter. Also, when you reflect the glitter in the light in your lamp that you've got, you shouldn't see any reflective parts of the glitter itself. It should look quite dull. That's how you know that it's definitely encapsulated. Because you don't want to file all your glitter off when you start filing over the nails. So if you see any areas that are still sort of reflective, you know then that you haven't got that encapsulated fully, and you'll find that you'll just file your glitter off. So just pick a little piece up and just go over that area so that it actually is all encapsulated. So you don't let any build up in the edges or the sides. So I'm just going to put that little blob there. I'm just going to wait for it to polymerise. You can see it's going into this round bead, and basically what's happening there is it's just drying out. Now as acrylic sets, it actually gets hot, and that's called an exothermic reaction. So that's why you should never, you often see people holding the acrylic up to a light to try and get it to dry faster. and of course you're just making that exothermic reaction worse, and it's going to get maybe too hot for your client, and sometimes it can burn and feel like it's burning. So just let it dry naturally. In the winter, if it's cold, you can use a faster drying powder or liquid. That can help you sometimes. So I'm just examining these now just to see if I have got that glitter encapsulated properly. It looks like I have. So there we are, we've got our coverage done, so that didn't take too long. And I've just got to let that dry now so it's ready to file. Obviously if you were doing two hands you'd go on to the next hand now, and that would in fact then be, this hand would be drying. So I just put a bit more in there, I just touched it with my hand. Gosh, there's another one going past. That'll file out though. I put a handprint on it when I moved across like that. Right, so I'm going to let those dry and we'll come back to them in a moment. Right, so I've filed them all over now, and I might just put a few little gemstones on. So I've got some builder gel here from premiergel.com, and I'm just going to put that at the back area where I just want to put the gemstones. So I'm just going to put a bit of builder gel into there and into here. And I think I'll leave the little finger. So I'm just putting a bit of builder gel onto those little sections. Then I'm going to get my no wipe top coat. I'm going to apply the gel, but what I'm going to do is brush through that builder gel to smooth it out. So I'm just brushing through the builder gel. Don't let any go onto the skin, obviously. Right, so I've got my gel on there now. So now I'm going to get my little tool here which has got a wax head on it. I'm going to put the gems in place. So put one here. And another one. Just on the slope like that. Maybe I will put one here. I'm just going to, what happens is they kind of move, you see. So what I'm going to do now is just zap that for a few seconds with my little portable UV light. And that will actually set those gems in place so that they don't move when I put them in the lamp. So now I'm going to put those into the lamp now for 60 seconds. So there's my finished nails. Very simple design. Nothing difficult in doing that. Just on these dummy hands here, they are really good, but they do tend to split at the sides, as you can see here, and I've got a split on the thumb as well. That's why I had to put this band round it. The thing is that when you putting the tips in, just be very careful. File off the sharp edges at the back of the tip, so when you push them in, they don't split up the sides. You can send them away and have them fixed. I think it costs about £10, but they have to go back to Holland, I think. But this particular hand was from handdolly.com, HANDOLLY.com. But Glam and Glitz also do a dummy hand. It's not quite as realistic as this one, but it is quite a good one. And of course, I think they are made of silicone, but I think it looks as though it's a bit stronger. But these hands are so good, they look so real, especially on photography. So I hope that was helpful, and I'll see you next time.